Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Adventure Fiberworks podcast. My name is Sydney, your host, and today I want to talk about my knitting / crafting intentions for 2023. I'm really big into intention settings instead of goal setting. I find goals are really easy to fall to the wayside, and then when you don't meet them, it's like kind of depressing. So I like intentions, and partially because if you don't meet them, well, it was just an intention, it's okay. And also because to me, intention's a little broader. So there's a lot more room for life to happen in between versus goals. If you're doing them the smart way, they can be a bit limiting. And if you're setting them in January for the whole year, you kind of forget that life happens and then. So I tend, if I'm going to have a goal, to set it on a more monthly or seasonal basis, and then try and have some intentions that can carry myself through the year. So with that, let's jump right in. I have a list right here. So let's start with the knitting ones. Right now, my stash is quite large. I really got really excited about yarn in 2022, and I bought a lot. And that's fine. Like I'm not ashamed or anything about that. I have no guilt. But now I'm definitely I've done some reorganizing and inventoried what I do have. And there's a lot, and it's slightly overwhelming. And so I really want to focus on having no new yarn with the goal of 6 months. I think that's very attainable. I really haven't bought any yarn for myself except for to add to a certain project that I was already working on since October. No, except for Fibre Frolic. But that's been it. So I feel like I can keep that going. My only exception is obviously if I need something for a whip. So it has to be something that's already casted on. I can't just think, oh, I'm going to do this project and I need to get a ball of a contrast color, or I need to get mohair to go with this yarn I already have. I have to already start it, or if I need it right away, that's okay too. So for example, I am test knitting right now the Farnham sweater by the Knit Pro Girl. I was really excited to get into her test knit, especially for that one, because I know she said the competition was going to be pretty high because there was a lot of interest in that. So that was super exciting that I got chosen. And I already had the main color, which is a pink. I'll probably show it in a later podcast. I don't have it with me right now, but I had to get the contrasting color, which was fine. And I knew I had to start it obviously because it was a test knit. So that's an example of I just had to buy some yarn to add to this project that I was starting. Test knits. That's another one. I did too many last year. I really got excited about being chosen for test knits, and I was it definitely gave me structure. It made me get things done in a timely manner. But I did so many test knits. If you watched my previous video, which is everything I made in 2022, it's a lot of test knits. Almost everything I knit was test knits, and that was great and all. They're all pieces I love. Most of them was with material I already had, projects that I probably would have done anyway, but they eat into your time because you only have so much time. And I'm a collector of patterns, and I have so many ideas of patterns I want to make, which I'll talk about later, with the yarn I already have. And I want to make intentional time for that. So I've narrowed it down. I can do 2 test knits max, including the Farnham sweater, the one I'm in, because I started it in the new year. That is a test knit. That counts towards my test knit 2. So I can only take one more. I think my goal with the second one is if I can test knit something. I love to test knit something for Ozetta. I love everything she makes. I definitely have some of her sweaters on my to make list this year. If I could test knit for her, that would be, I think, that would make a great second one. So I really want to just work on the projects that I want to do with the yarn I have, with the patterns I have that I've been like keeping in my mind for so long. I really want to get that done this year. So 2 test knits max. What else we got here? Yeah. I'm a fairly monogamous knitter. I like knitting one thing at a time. I find it's just a little easier on my brain. I find working on multiple things can be a little overwhelming for me. I get like very like anxious and like, oh my god, I should be working on this. I should be working on this. Should I be getting this done? And if I just work on one thing at a time, I don't have to worry about that. So I want to get some of my whips done. I think I only have, looking at my like bag that has all my whips in it here, I only have like 5 whips. The two I don't even want to be whips. I want to work on them, but now I'm in a test knit and I still have Christmas things in it, so they're definitely going to be the things I get done next. They are the Miles shirt jacket, which I'm knitting with 2 strands of nudity and like a really dark coal color, and then the no frill sweater by Petite Knit. Now, the no frill sweater, I started with some stash and some scrap that I had, and it's 1 strand of palette from Knit Picks, and then 1 strand of Estelle Alpaca Whisper, which I had left over from another project, and I kind of just wanted to see how they play. They played very nicely. It's really pretty beige color, but I ran out of Alpaca Whisper, which was partially why that had to get put down, and the Alpaca Whisper color I need in linen is very hard to track down right now, so I think that kind of just has to stay as a whip until Estelle gets it back in stock, because like they're out everywhere, and I don't really feel like paying $25 to get it shipped to me, so it's just going to stay like that until I can get my hands on some more. I dilly-daddled about getting some of that yarn while it was in stock in town. Now it's out of stock. It's out of stock for the company. So I have to wait. That's definitely going to be a yarn purchase as soon as it comes back in stock, so I don't miss this out again. But those are the 2 projects I didn't want to put down in the first place, but I had to because I took on test knits, and then there was Christmas, and now I'm in a test knit, and it's just, I definitely overwhelmed myself. So I really want to focus on getting those 2 projects done. I have a couple others. Well, we'll see what happens with those. Those will still be my like slow work. But those are the 2 whips I really want to get done. I only have, 4 or 5 whips, so I'm not just like super concerned. And I'm not ready to frog it yet. One of them's in Plutalope, the Winter Tales shawl by Ozetta, and I started that in 2021. But now and then I pick it up and work on it as like a little refresh. So I'm not ready to pull that out. I don't know if I could. But yeah, so finish up some of my whips, get them out. I would prefer not to have any whips. I just want finished projects and keep up with my more monogamous style of knitting because it works for me. What else here? Oh yeah. So 2 things I want to learn. Well, one thing I want to learn is how to do cables. I want to do a cabled sweater, or a few, this year. I haven't learned how to do it, but that's like my goal, is to learn how to do cables. I have heard they're not that hard, so I think I could totally do that. I also want to do a colorwork sweater, at least one. I have yarn to do the Evergrey sweater by the Petite Knitter. Not Petite Knit, the Petite Knitter. She's a Canadian designer who lives up in Nunavut, which is pretty cool. If you haven't seen her stuff, check it out. It's gorgeous. And then I also have yarn knitted in specifically to do the Barren Land sweater by Woodland Knits. It just so happened I had enough of it. So those 2 I would really love to do this year, both using stash and patterns I have. Right now, so I learned how to do color work back in May, and I took a class. I haven't used it until recently. Right now I'm working on a hat. And I'm like, oh, right, this is fun. I really enjoy it. I like that you have to like pay attention to what you're doing, instead of just like plain stockinette stitch, and it still goes pretty quickly. Um, so I really want to do some sweaters in that. I have a lot of great patterns. So I think it'll be really fun, and to like challenge myself a bit more with techniques. And then lastly, for the knitting plans, is I want to make some socks for myself. I made 1.5 pairs of socks at Christmas time. I was still working on the second sock for my dad. The poor man only got one sock for Christmas. Such is life. But I want to make myself some socks. And so I've been using the DRK Everyday Socks by Drea Renee Knits. And then I picked up one of her other sock patterns. It's the same construction. It's just, I'll put the pattern name down here. It's the same construction, so it's a toe up with a toe up with a fleegle heel, but it's all stockinette instead of the ribbing, just because I need to change it up. I've done a lot of ribbing projects recently, and I'm over it. So I got that, and I have sock yarns too, that I've collected. So I have lots of yarn to make socks, so I'd like to make myself some socks. That's definitely on the thing. I think I have 3 written down. I'm not married to that, but I would like to make myself some socks, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making the ones for gifts. And I think I should have some socks too, if everyone else gets socks in my life. Okay, so let's check here. You want to know? Okay, sorry. I had to let my cats out because there's one stuck in here with me. I have 2 other main crafting goals, intentions, whatever. And that is, you can probably see it here behind me, is my loom. My partner went way above and to beyond, and got me this loom stand I really, really wanted for my Ashford 32-inch table loom. So now it can kind of act as a floor loom if you're on 4 shafts. I have an 8 shaft, but I don't know when I'm going to use 8 shafts. So I have no excuses anymore, and I have to start weaving. So actually this morning, after much hullabaloo yesterday and like just getting really angry, I finally, I think, successfully have the warp on. I broke one warp string, I know that, but it's fine. I'm making tea towels. It's not a big deal. It's my first project. So it's been really intimidating to get the warp on. I'm not scared of weaving. That's the easy part. It's warping the thing, which is kind of terrifying. And because I learned how to do it one way that doesn't necessarily go with the way that the Ashford wants, and like how I measured the warp, and it's taken months, but I finally got it on there. So now I have the easy part of just threading it through the heddles, and the reed. The intention is to always have it warped up for projects. For Christmas, I got 2 books, and they're 2. I obviously want to play around with just weaving. I have a 4-shaft weaving book and an 8-shaft weaving book. But there's 2 real techniques I want to get into, and that is Doubleweave. So this is a book that I got. I also pay for, I haven't really used it, another intention, actually use my subscriptions to the School of Sweet Georgia. And I know they just released the course that basically goes with this book. And they use this book as the base for their course, because I'm not always great at reading instructions. So I've compared this with the course. And same goes for the next book I have. So I want to learn how to double weave, which is really exciting on an 8-shaft loom, because you get 4 shafts per layer. And if you don't know what double weave is, if you're like, I'm not a weaver, what are you talking about, Sid? Double weave, so typically when you're weaving, you weave on kind of like a single plane. You have 1 layer of fabric that you're creating. With double weave, you have 2 layers of fabric that you're, I don't know like really how it works, but I have the notion of you're weaving 2 layers of fabric, and they're usually connected on one side, so that when you take it off the loom, you have double the width of fabric. So I would get 64 inches if I warped the whole 32 inches of my loom. And it just gives you more opportunities. You can also do like tubes. So like pillows could be fun, and I just have to seam up the two edges. Or I could do like 64-inch widths of fabric or blankets. So I really want to learn how to weave. This book comes highly recommended for anyone interested in double weave. This is definitely the book. And then the other thing I'm really interested in learning is, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's Krokbragd. I think that's how you say it, Krokbragd. School of Sweet Georgia also has, I think it is Debby Greenlaw, because she's Canadian, actually teaches the course. So I have both her books, and it's really cool. I'll give you an example of, hopefully you can see this, but it's these really interesting motifs that just fascinate me, and I think it would make really cool, I can post some other examples here, like really interesting like rugs and like placemats and pillows. I think pillows would be so pretty. So I'm really interested in learning Krokbragd techniques or Norwegian weaving techniques. So those are kind of my two themes I want to play with within weaving, is both of these, plus a couple projects of just like learning the ins and outs of my loom that I've had since May that I haven't used yet in a classic Sydney fashion. Speaking of another item that I've purchased in 2021 that I didn't use is my spinning wheel. I'm going to learn how to spin this year. I have made friends who know how to spin. They have all offered to teach me how to spin. The last few months have just been insane, so I haven't. But I am set on learning how to spin. I really want to get this in like the first couple months before the spring sets in. I'm going to learn how to spin. So I need to get my wheel out. I have had offers from the Weavers Guild to like, Sid, bring your wheel in and we'll like get it fixed up and ready for you to spin. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I have I can't let that go another year of like not learning how to do it. So I'm going to learn how to spin this year. And basically just make me the epitome of a multi-craft fiber arts person. So that's my goal there, or intention, sorry, is just learn how to spin, get into it, try it. My not this year, but like lifetime, like looking forward 5-10 years, I would love to like go from a fleece on a sheep all the way to a sweater. And like do all the processing myself. I have a book. What's it called? Which one is it? The Spinner's Book of Fleece. And it actually talks about that whole process. So one day, that's the goal. I need to have a lot of skills to get there first, and some more tools. So that's like a far away goal. So number one, I need to learn how to spin to start with. I have beautiful fiber. I just need to get it done. Okay. So with the stash busting that I want to do, I'm starting. I was playing around with keeping some sort of yarn inventory on like an Excel doc. So I started that the other night just to get an idea of what I have. And then with that, I just want to keep better track of what I've done. So the last year I did keep track of everything I made. And it looks like this. It's kind of disorganized. It's like just throughout this book I have little lists of what I did every month. And that's it. I just like wrote down what I did, which was great. I'm really happy I did that because I could refer to it, especially for the video I did yesterday. The last video I put out, where I could go through it and see what I made. But this year I want to be more intentional about keeping track. I want to keep notes. I want to rate my experience of making it and how happy I am with the outcome. I want to keep track of a picture of everything I make because I don't do that. A lot of the times things leave me, like they get given as gifts or they just disappear into the bowels of my closet. And while I wear them, I've never taken a picture with them. And one of my intentions this year is to be more intentional about the content I put out, which is both on YouTube. I would like to be a bit more regular than I have been. And and on Instagram. I would like to post more. I would want to post more just for myself, kind of the same as this. I want to have pictures of things I make. I want to document that process. And I also want to post more about kind of my experience when making it. So with that, I've started in my notebook, a project page for everything I make. Kind of like what you would use Doubleweave for. I just like it on paper. So this space is the intention of, I'll take pictures of everything I make, and then I'll probably go to the library and get like a bunch printed out at the same time because I don't have a color printer. So these are just some projects, these are the two whips, the no frills and the miles. I already knit a hat this year that'll be out at the end of the month. I'll show you that, or if you follow me on Instagram, it'll probably be up soon. But I need to get a photo, but I put the project name, the pattern I'm using, the yarn, and trying to figure, kind of keep track if it was stash or purchased. Purchase is a bit of a weird one because, and I put notes here, it was purchased in 2021. And I think for now, what I'm going to do is this the project that it was purchased for that I bought last year? Versus just stash, which is like, this was just in here because I bought it, or it was for like a different project. And when was it purchased? This was 2021, so I can keep better track of what's coming in and going out. How much I needed, the meterage, start date, finished. This can be photo and any notes I have, my thoughts of making it and the finished project, and my overall rating for it. And I want to do this for everything, not just knitting, but sewing projects. I have weaving, especially for weaving and spinning. I need to take notes. I put this on beamed my work this morning, and because I measured the warp out like months ago and then procrastinated, I was like, what pattern were we following? Where did we follow a pattern for this? How did I pick out this much? I don't even know how much warp is on here. So this is going to be a journey because I don't know how much warp's on here. I'll have an idea of how many ends I have because I'll have to thread them all. But it's just like, Sid, this is why you have to take notes. So this is going to get added in here as the weaving project once I figure out how much is on it. So just better notes, better inventory of what I've been doing. Yeah, I like journals. I love writing things. So keeping track of things as they go, I think will be really nice. Because last year it wasn't enough just to write down the titles of everything, a list of what I wrote. Okay, what else? Yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, sewing. I want to make tailored trousers and or jeans this year. That's the goal there. It's been intimidating, but I made a wool jacket last fall, so I'm like, there's no excuses. If you can make yourself a fully lined wool jacket, you can make yourself a pair of tailored trousers and or jeans. I have all the fabric, I have all the patterns, I just have to do it. So that's my big sewing intention for the year. It's like, you're going to focus on pants because they're hard, but it's also hard to buy pants with my body shape. So I'm going to make some for myself. Yeah, so those are my crafting intentions. There's a couple, other than the 2 colorwork sweaters I mentioned, there's a few. I'm going to make my Guernsey sweater. Sandy's Garn just put out a newer pattern magazine that has the Guernsey sweater for women, men, and children, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to try and link below. I'll put the name of the magazine that was just released that has the pattern here, so you can take a look for it maybe at your own local yarn stores. I'm going to try and find some Canadian links if anyone's still carrying it, because I know there's a lot of questions the last time I talked about the Guernsey, which has been a lot, where to find the pattern. So I'm going to try and link below if I can find any, if they're still in stock, because I know they re-released it. So hopefully for those of you who've watched and you've been wanting to get your hands on it, hopefully that will help. So I'm gonna do my Guernsey sweater. I'm very excited. I'm still like obsessed with that one, so I just really need to do it. I have, what's it? Oh yeah, I want to do a cream cardigan. It's definitely one of those things that is like missing in my wardrobe. I'm gonna have a lot of cream sweaters, but I need just a really plain beige, cream, brown, like some really basic cardigans because I wear cardigans a lot, especially like in the winter, I wear my sweaters, but the rest of the year, like spring, summer, and fall, because it gets cool here in the summer, I wear cardigans. So I need more cardigans in my wardrobe that are like basic colors that I can wear with everything. And then I want to do two of Ozetta's patterns. The port sweater that's coming out. Oh, I've been like, I think it's coming out like the second week of January, so next week. I am like so pumped for that one. That is everything I want in a sweater. It's like cropped, it's oversized, it's got a high neck. So I'm really excited for that one to come out. I think it's probably going to be made out of Manchlope or Nudidin because I think that's all I have enough of. I'm just looking over at my stash. I think that's within the range that she wants for the sweater. I think that'll work. I should say for the cream cardigan, I do have yarn options in my stash too, so that's good. Yes, the port sweater, whenever I get around to it, it's probably going to be in a Manchlope because I have enough. And then I would love to do the winter's pullover, which I've been like harboring that pattern since last winter when it came out. She did it in this beautiful brown color. This is probably going to be a sweater that I probably have to buy yarn for because I don't think I have any quantities that are enough because it's very oversized and it uses a lot. She's done it in like this like beautiful brown color. I'll post the photo and like I just want to recreate that. So I was really excited earlier this year. One of our local yarn stores brought Manchlope in and they have like the dark brown one. So that might be a treat for myself. That would probably be something I do in the fall. So maybe by that point I'll be like feeling good about where things are with my stash and I could buy yarn just for that. So we will see. But yeah, those are some sweaters I want to do. I'm not going to. Sometimes I get really into picking a bunch of patterns that I want to do, but then like life happens and I change my mind and I don't want to do it anymore. And so like I'll buy the yarn and then I'll make something else with the yarn and like that's fine. But I don't want to marry myself to too many goals of sweaters. These are just more like some ideas of some ones I know at this point that I really like to do that I haven't gotten around to yet. Whether I'm making the Guernsey sweater, that is like for sure. I think I know enough about construction now that they're slightly vague instructions will be fine. But if I don't make some of these patterns, like that's cool too. I'm not married to them. It is just fun having like a few in mind of like, what am I going to do next? And I think I'll probably if I'm going to make videos of like what I'm planning on making, I'll make them more seasonally because that gives me more room to move and like see what I have and where things are at. So yeah. Let me know what your intentions. Do you have any goals or intentions that you want to do? Is there anything new you want to try this year? Like anything you want to learn that you haven't dabbled into yet? Like, do you want to learn how to weave? Are you looking how to spin? Felting is like another one. Like there's so much you can do, even if it's not fiber related. Like what's something new you want to learn? Because I love learning new things and that usually inspires like, ooh, I need to know more about that. And like, 3 hours later, I've watched 10 YouTube videos and read 10 articles on it. So like, what do you want to learn that's new this year? What are your intentions? Also, because I would like to make more videos more regularly. I'm aiming for 2 a month. What do you want to see? Let me know what any topics you want to cover. I've talked about it before. I think in February, I'm going to do my crafting as a spiritual practice esque video come February. So hopefully that's the intention, that's the goal. I'm gonna put that out because I know it's been asked for. I've talked about it. But is what else? What do you like to see in your YouTube subscriptions? Let me know so I can get some ideas because that is kind of one thing that overwhelms me is like, what am I going to talk about? So let me know what you want to see. Anyways, I hope this new year has had a gentle start on you and that it brings gentle vibes. I think we need that after the last few years. So happy New Year's and enjoy. Have a good one. Bye.